There is a moment in every investor's life that feels almost unreal. A moment when your portfolio grows so fast on its own that your contributions barely move the needle anymore. A moment when the heavy lifting quietly shifts from you to compounding. Most people do not realize this moment is coming, and when it arrives, it changes everything. How you save, how you plan, and how you think about the future. Today, we are breaking down the exact point where that shift happens. Not the theory or the hype, the real financial tipping point where your money officially starts working harder than you do. If you are serious about building wealth, this is one moment you need to understand clearly. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss videos designed to help you build a calm, confident financial plan that actually works. Now let's start by looking at the two engines that drive your entire investing journey, and why only one of them lasts forever. Section 1. The two engines of wealth, savings versus compounding. Every investing journey starts with two engines pulling you forward. One is loud, obvious, and completely powered by you. The other is quiet, invisible, and becomes unstoppable over time. Engine 1 is your savings. This is the part you control, the money you contribute from your paycheck. Early on, this is everything. Your portfolio barely grows without it. Most of your progress comes from the dollars you manually add. Engine 2 is compounding. This is the part where your money begins to grow on its own. But in the beginning, compounding feels slow, almost disappointing. A few $100s here, a few hundred there, nothing big enough to feel real. But here is the truth. These two engines never operate with equal power. One gradually fades while the other accelerates. And eventually, the shift becomes so dramatic that your contributions barely matter at all. Understanding this shift is what helps you stay patient in the early years and confident in the later years. And to understand when that shift happens, we need to talk about one powerful moment in your investing journey, the exact point where compounding officially takes the lead. That moment is called the crossover point, and it changes everything. Section 2. The crossover point, when growth surpasses contributions. The crossover point is the moment every investor waits for, even if they do not realize it. It is the day your portfolio quietly says, "I've got it from here." Here is the simplest way to recognize it. Your annual investment growth becomes larger than the amount you contribute. That is the tipping point. That is the shift. That is when compounding officially becomes the star of the show. Let's make it real. If you have $50,000 invested and you contribute $20,000 each year, your contribution is still doing most of the work. Your growth is tiny compared to what you're putting in. But once your portfolio reaches around $300,000, something interesting happens. Your yearly contribution and your yearly growth start to look similar. It becomes a 50-50 partnership between your paycheck and compounding. Then comes the big moment. Around $500,000, compounding begins to outgrow your contributions. A 7% return on that amount is $35,000, far more than most people add each year. At that point, your contributions matter, but they no longer drive your portfolio. The math has flipped, and this single shift becomes one of the biggest psychological milestones in wealth building. Because for the first time, you see what everyone always talks about: your money growing faster than you can save. But how long does it actually take to reach this moment? That is where most people get surprised. Section 3. How long it takes to reach this moment. Reaching the crossover point is not a mystery. It is a gradual shift that happens as your portfolio grows. But the timeline often surprises people. Let's look at 3 simple checkpoints that reveal how this works. Checkpoint 1. Stopping at $100,000. It takes a few years to reach this point, but if you stopped contributing here, compounding alone would take decades to reach $1 million. Your savings are still carrying most of the weight. Checkpoint 2. Stopping at $300,000. This usually takes around a decade. From here, compounding needs another stretch of time to hit 1 million, but the growth is starting to feel real. Your portfolio is no longer relying only on your paycheck. Checkpoint 3. Stopping at $500,000. This is where everything shifts. If you stopped contributing here, compounding could still carry you to 1 million in about a decade. And if you keep contributing, the timeline barely changes. This is the point where contributions begin to matter less. Your portfolio has enough mass. compounding finally has room to accelerate. And from here on out, your money starts pulling more weight than you do. But this tipping point is not the same for everyone, and the next factor determines how quickly you reach it. Section 4. How market returns shift the tipping point. Your crossover point is not only shaped by how much you save, it also depends on what your portfolio earns each year. When market returns are stronger, compounding takes over sooner. A 7 or 8% average growth rate means your portfolio can start outpacing your contributions at a smaller dollar amount. But if your portfolio grows more slowly, maybe 5% per year, your contributions remain the main driver for longer. Compounding still works, but the tipping point moves further down the road. This is why two people saving the exact same amount can hit the crossover years apart. They are playing with different growth engines. The key idea is simple. Higher returns pull the crossover closer. Lower returns push it further away. But no matter your exact return, the shift still happens. Compounding always becomes the dominant force eventually. The only variable is when. Now let's take this idea even deeper by looking at a concept built entirely around reaching this tipping point as early as possible. Section 5. The concept of coast fire. If you want a real-world example of the tipping point, look at coast fire. This idea revolves around hitting a moment where your contributions become optional because compounding can carry you the rest of the way. Here is how it works. You save aggressively early in life. You build a strong base, and once your portfolio reaches a certain number, you can stop contributing entirely and still reach your long-term goal on schedule. For example, someone aiming to have $2 million by age 65 might only need around $187,000 invested by age 30. From that point onward, a steady growth rate could take them all the way to their goal without a single additional contribution. That is the tipping point in its purest form. Your money does not just help you, it replaces your effort. For some people, this milestone arrives early, for others, later. But the logic stays the same. Once compounding can finish the job on its own, your financial life becomes dramatically more flexible. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you want more videos that help you build a financial plan that grows quietly in the background while you focus on the rest of your life. Now, let's explore the major milestones every investor hits on their way to the crossover point. Section 6. The big investing milestones that lead to the tipping point. The crossover point doesn't appear out of nowhere. You reach it by passing a series of milestones, each one proving that compounding is gaining strength. Here are the big ones. The first $10,000. It feels small, but it matters. This is where saving becomes a habit, and the numbers finally start looking real. The first $100,000. This milestone is famous for a reason. Compounding starts to feel powerful here. A strong market year can add as much as you contributed yourself. The first time your growth beats your contributions. This is the emotional turning point. You look at your statement and realize your portfolio added more than you did. That is your first taste of the crossover. When your portfolio earns more than your job, this moment feels almost unreal. Your investments produce more in a year than your paycheck. It is a clear sign that compounding is fully in control. When your portfolio covers essential expenses, this is your first real taste of financial independence. Even if something happened to your job, your basics would be covered. When your portfolio covers your entire lifestyle, at this point, your investments can fund the life you want, not just the life you need. Work becomes optional. This is the ultimate milestone. You keep working because you want to, not because you have to. Your money is now the one earning your living. These milestones show you where you stand, how far you have come, and how close you are to the moment your contributions stop being the main driver of your future. Every investor reaches a point where the math quietly flips. Your contributions matter less, and compounding takes over completely. That is the moment your portfolio grows faster than you can save. That is the moment your money becomes the engine. And once you hit it, the journey gets easier, calmer, and far more motivating. Your job is simple. Save consistently in the early years, stay invested, and let time do what time always does. If this breakdown helped you understand your own tipping point, make sure to subscribe for more videos that simplify wealth building and make the process feel doable. And if you want to go deeper, Watch the video on your screen next. It shows the exact signs that compounding is finally working in your favor.